Hey, what's up, guys? We're here another episode of Comping Out the TV, and we're going to be talking about why or how why American soccer isn't as strong as one would think with the population in the United States being so high versus some of these other countries like Uruguay, smaller countries. They're more successful in football. And the United States, we have over 300 million population, and the team is competitive, but they haven't won any World Cups or any major competitions besides CONCACAF tournaments. So, and this is just our opinion, and this is how we feel. But the bottom line is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He made a good comment when he was here in MLS. He said that in the United States, the players that have the money are able to play on decent teams, and people that don't have the money, you have to play on teams where they just have to accept where they're playing. And sometimes for those players that don't have the means to pay, they're playing on teams where maybe the talent isn't as high, or the people aren't as committed, and they're not able to develop because of that. And also because maybe the coach isn't a soccer coach, or maybe he's not that good of a soccer coach. So that's one thing right there, that people that want to play on a decent team and get and improve their game, it costs money to play on these teams. And I understand why it costs money, because these teams, they have to pay for fields, they got to pay for referees, they got to pay registration for leagues and stuff like that. So I get it. I get it why they got to be compensated. They got to pay the coaches. I get it. So that is one thing. That's one item that is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Not that I needed to hear it from Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but I felt this way for a long time, that's hindering players that don't have an opportunity to play for a better team. And, it hinders them, right? They a lot of times now in youth soccer, if you're not playing on a higher level team, it's hard for you to progress to the next level. And I'm not saying that high school soccer is great soccer, but a lot of times, these teams, they're picking players from, teams that play for players that play for stronger teams, and maybe not like a local team that somebody plays on. So that's one issue that I think is hindering American soccer, is the cost to play on a decent team, a good team. Or I'm not going to say they're great, they're not. Let's just be realistic over here. The top level soccer in the United States is MLS soccer, and that MLS soccer is not a top league in the world. I mean, maybe 15th to 20th ranked league in the world. So let's just put that into perspective. If you pay to go play for a team, a youth team, you may not like those teams are inferior than more than likely most of them are inferior to like an MLS youth team. So I believe that the cost to play this sport in the country is hindering talent from playing, from getting, developed, and and that's hindering players to go onto higher levels, et cetera, et cetera. So that's number one. Number two is that Pirlo, when he came to MLS, he really wasn't effective. I don't think. I mean, I didn't watch too many of his games, but I just saw what he said, and I watched a couple games, and he really was not effective like he would be, on the Italian national team or in the Serie A or in the Champions League. He was not effective because the way that Americans, a majority of Americans are taught to play is exactly what Pirlo said after he was done. He said that there's too much running in MLS and not enough play. So what that means is that, these players over here, a lot of them are the coaches are looking for super fit players that could run all day. It seems like the technical aspect of the player in the intelligence of the player from a soccer IQ is second. They want fit players that can run up and down and just beat up their opponents and physical and all that stuff. And even Pirlo, has said this when he came here. And I've been saying this in my head for 10 to 15 years, even before he's been here. So that's another issue, that the way these players are being told to talk, the way these players are being told to play is a more physical, more endurance game. And the highest levels of soccer, they don't play like that. And when the national team, they have these players, sometimes, they play these other countries that are more possession based and they're more intelligent, more intelligent. They get beat because, I feel like the coaches here in America, a lot of them, they're looking for more kick and run type soccer, and that ultimately affects the top product in the country. So that's another thing, the style of play that they play in America, and I wouldn't even say that there's a style of play in America. I mean, they're you may have teams that they have Spanish coaches or Italian coaches or American coaches, and they all play different. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the MLS is more of a finesse, like high endurance. They're not really playing the best quality soccer. And again, so that's another reason why, the American soccer isn't as good as one would think with such a big population. So we talked about, the pay to play. We talked about the style of play, or how these players are taught to play. A lot of them, I see it now in youth soccer. I mean, you go to these youth tryouts, and a lot of times the coaches, they're looking for fast, high endurance, physical players, when they may overlook somebody that understands how to play the game and is more of a technical type player. And that's one of the problems, in my opinion. And even a world-class player like Pirlo said the same thing. So that's an issue. And the pay to play, we will see Lorenzo Insigne. He's a very technical player. He's not like a finesse, high endurance guy, and we'll see how he does in the MLS. And I'm sure he'll have similar remarks, because this is not the kind of soccer he's used to playing. And Insigne, he plays on world-class teams. He's on the defending European champions. He's been playing for Napoli his whole career, which is top-level teams. And so those are two things that I believe are hindering U.S. soccer. There's no like, if USA really wants to get serious, in my opinion, in winning like a World Cup, they need to invest more money and set up like clubs or organizations in every state, and the best talent could go there and play there, free of charge, and then they could get moved up. They, obviously we need to have, great coaches that, understand the game, how it's played on an international level and at the highest levels. So we need organizations like that, and the USA needs to fund it, and get on the same page with, the rest of these clubs throughout the country. So if you had the USA invested more money and they organized organizations within every state so the top talent could go there and, free of charge, and get developed from the best coaches, that understand world-class and high-level soccer, and then cultivate those players and give them a route to go play for the best teams in the world. That's another thing. I'm sure we have, such awesome players in the United States, but they don't know how to get to Europe or anything like that. I mean, you go look at the players that play in Europe from the United States. Who do you have? You have Giovanni Reyna, right? How did this guy get to Europe? His father, I'm sure he helped him out. You have McKennie. I think his family lived in Germany. So I know there's other players, but I'm talking about big club, like the biggest of clubs. I know there's Pulisic. He's the exception, not the norm. But a lot of players, they don't understand or know how to get to the next level. And, and they stay and they play high school soccer, they play college soccer, and that overall is really not good soccer in the grand scheme of things. Like I said, the MLS is the highest league in the the USA, and that's probably 20th best in the world. So, anyways, I just wanted to come on. I'm at the beach with my family today, and I was just as the World Cup is getting near. I live in the States, and I just wanted to give a video on why I thought U.S. soccer, is they're competitive, but they're not like winning World Cups, and they're not at the highest level. And even their play, any like high level soccer mind will say that the play that the national team does in the field is not like great. I mean, it's not world class or not the greatest of soccer. I mean, go watch these shows that talk about the World Cup. These commentators and these people that are talking about the World Cup, yeah, they say that USA may make it past the group, and they may lose out of the group, but they're not picking them to go to the final, maybe to the knockout round, and maybe a round more. But England, they're not fair in the team, they're not fair in the United States. And so anyways, that's my take. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, subscribe. That's my take on why I think that the U.S. soccer is not as good as people would think with such a large population. And this take that the USA doesn't win these tournaments because their best athletes don't play soccer is nonsense. You need to be trained and have been trained and have a great soccer IQ to be a great player. And just throwing some athlete in there to go play soccer isn't going to do anything. Maybe even if you're given the best training, that does not mean you're going to transpire to be a great soccer player. If LeBron James came and played football and he had the best trainer since he was young, there's no saying that he would be a great soccer player. I mean, how many 6'7", or I don't even know how tall he is, 6'7", 6'10", football players do you know have been out there? The only ones I can think of, the tall players are like Jaap Stam from the Netherlands and stuff like that. But not that height has to do anything with it. But this comment that USA doesn't put its best athletes to play soccer, that I don't buy that. You'll see some of the best players in history are not the best athletes. They're just the best footballers, like Zidane, like Ronaldo, like Pirlo, like Totti, like Roberto Baggio, like Franco Baresi, Donadoni. The list goes on and on and on. So Maradona, I mean, the guy was like 5 foot nothing, but he had the quick feet and the vision of the game. Another thing I think comes into effect in U.S. soccer is that politics plays a big role. You know, I see it. You know, I see it every day, and it's not anything new to people that, you know, sometimes who you know gets you where you want to go, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best player. It's just, you know, somebody knows somebody and they get to play, you know, on the team because they know somebody. So anyways, subscribe, leave a comment, and have a good day. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the day at the beach. Look at this, beautiful